Students, can you see my screen now?
Yes, miss.
Teacher Kara.
Full screen ആക്കണം.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let us start. Okay, students, today we are going to the topic psychological groups, meaning and characteristics. That is 5.1 of your 5th module. Okay. Anyway, before getting into the topic, let us see what a group is. Do you know what a group is? A group is the arrangement of the individuals who have something in common. That is, either they possess a similar trait or falls into the same situation. This association becomes a temporary identity of the individuals who form it. Also, every group has its norms, goals, composition, and criteria. So simply, group is an aggregation of individuals who have something common or facing a same situation, right? Okay. Now we are moving to okay. We are moving to another slide. It takes a minute. You just wait. Okay. It's over now. Okay, we are moving to another slide that says, from the moment of birth, a human being lives in a family, which can be called a group, a unit of socialization, right? Okay, so from the birth itself, we are a part of some group, right? We born into a group called family. That is the basic unit of a society where we start our socialization. No individuals has any existence apart from his group. From birth till death, he is a member of some group and his behavior is constantly influenced by the group to which he belongs at that time. As a social being, we are always a part of any group, and our behavior is influenced by that group also. Okay, the topic of group has a place in the heart of social psychology. So the topic psychological group is placed in the heart of social psychology. Why it is placed in the heart of social psychology? Because all of us are a part of any group, and the nature of that group will be influenced by the human behavior. Therefore, the topic is very important in social psychology. Okay, we know that groups are formed formally or informally for a purpose, right? So some groups are formed for any purpose, and some are formed informally also. A collection of individuals form a group whether there is interaction of the members or not. Without interaction, the group is merely an aggregation. Here it says we have seen a collection of individuals. A collection of individuals is called a group. If there is interaction between members and they work together for a goal, they are functional group. Without interaction, that is not a group. That is just an aggregation of individuals. They may not have any common goal. So what are functional groups? If they are formed for a particular purpose and they are performing, that kind of groups can be called as a functional group. So functional groups are characterized by common goals and interstimulation and response among members. So in functional groups, they work together for a common goal. Okay, now we are going to see some of the definitions of psychological groups. So here Theodore Newcomb says a group consists of two or more persons who share norms about certain things with one another and whose social roles are clearly interlocking. Thus, a group must interact with each other to share certain common values, and thirdly, these persons must have a common social purpose or role to function and to bind each other. So this definition emphasizes that a group must consist two or more persons. Each one should have a role and they must have a common purpose. And again, there is one more definition. It is given by Sherif and Sherif. He defines a group as a social unit which consists of a number of individuals who stand in role and status relationship to one another, stabilized in some degree at the time, and who possess a set of values or norms of their own, regulating their behavior, at least in matter of consequences to the group. Again, this definition says about the number of individuals in a group, the roles and common goals. See, this is another definition. Can any one of you read this definition? Devika, can you read this definition?
A group
Okay,
is a system of more individuals who are related to one another so that it performs some functions. It has a standard of role relationship and has a set of norms that regulate the function of the group.
Okay. Okay, now we have seen three definitions of group, and there is actually no consensus among social psychologists on defining characteristics of a group. And nearly all definitions, however, emphasize that a group is not a mere aggregation of individuals that we have seen already. Rather, two or more individuals become a group to the extent that they are bonded together in some way, which generally means that they interact and influence one another and share perceptions of themselves as a group. So from these definitions, some common things are saying the number of about the number of individuals, their roles, their status, and all. So from these definitions, we can derive the characteristics of a group. So we are moving to another point, that is the characteristics of a group. See, these are the characteristics. First one says it is the assemblance of individuals. Yes, this is the assemblance of individuals. A group or a team of individuals is called as a group. Then it has its own structure and organization of forces. So each group has its own structure, the way of working, their norms, their values, and it has an organizational chart. So each group has its own structure and organization of forces. Again, it has its own standard and norms of behavior of performance. So that is another characteristics. Each group has its own standards and norms of behavior of performance. Another characteristic says it stands in role and status of relationship to one another. So in a group, each individual has a role and each individual has a status too, and they are related to one another. Okay, then another characteristics is it performs as some specific it performs as some specific function. So each group has a purpose. Each group has a specific goal or specific purpose, and they perform for that function. Again, another characteristics is it provides motivation and satisfaction of needs of the members. So each group, they work together for the satisfaction of the need of members. Again, it provides the awareness of members by the process of interaction. So there is interaction between individuals. Okay. Then continuation of characteristics. Again, it says it has its goals and objectives that we have already seen. And the another characteristics is it has dynamic process of social and emotional development of the member. So every group has a goal, and one of the goal is social and emotional development of each member. Again, it has a common fate or failure. The members are interdependent. So what do you mean by interdependent? That means the group members will sink or swim together. That is, success or failure is for the whole group. It is not related to a single person. We cannot blame like that. If success or failure, it is for the whole group. And another characteristics is it has an own leader. Each group has a leader. Then again it says the group may disintegrate when the common motive is satisfied. What does it mean? So once the need is satisfied, the group may disperse. So these are the characteristics of a group. Would you like to see it again? These are the 12 characteristics. Can we move to another one? Another slide? Okay. Now we are going to see the stages of group development. See, there are 5 stages of group development. As we know, a team cannot be expected to perform well right from the time it is formed, right? Forming a team is just like maintaining a relationship. It takes time, patience, requires support, efforts, and members often go through recognizable stages as they change from being a collection of strangers to a united group with common goals. Bruce Tuckman presented a model of 5 stages of forming a group. Uh, so uh, each Forming each group need a time to perform. Bruce Tuckman has given 5 stages of forming a group. Which are the 5 stages? The first one is forming stage, second one is storming stage, third is norming, fourth is performing stage, and the last one is adjourning stage. So we are going to see what are the forming stage, what is storming stage, what is norming stage, like that. See, this is the first stage. That is a forming stage. We can see it as an orientation stage. At this stage, group members are learning what to do, how the group is going to operate, what is expected, and what is acceptable. This is the first stage. You just imagine your BEd students as a group. See, in initial stage, what during the orientation program, you were in this stage. You didn't have any idea about what to do, who will be their leader, like that. You don't know anything about the group members, like that. You were in the first stage during our orientation. You just imagine that. Okay. Second stage is power struggle stage or storming stage. Uh, Questions around leadership, authority, rules, policies, norms, responsibilities, structure, evaluation criteria, and reward system tend to arise during the storming stage. Such questions need to be answered so that group can move further on the next stage. This is storming stage is where there are so many questions that to be answered. So in the second stage, members get an idea about rules, regulations, leadership, etc. Right? And For you in the storming stage, you identified the rules and regulations of the college. Then you got a leader. Then like that, many of your questions were answered in the second stage, in the storming stage. Okay, which is the third stage? The third stage is norming stage. There is more cooperation and integration. See, in this stage, the group becomes fun and enjoyable. Group interactions are a lot more easier, more cooperative and productive, with weight give and take, open communication, bonding, and mutual respect. See, for you also, after 1 month, 1 month of inauguration, 1 month of orientation, you reach this stage, right? Being in this group, it is enjoyable for you. Communications are easier. You are more cooperative. That is the third stage, and we are going to the fourth stage. That is performing stage. At this stage, the morale is high as group members actively acknowledge the talents, skills, and experiences that each member brings to the group. A sense of belongingness is established, and the group remains focused on the group's purpose and goal. So, I think you are at this stage now. A sense of belongingness is there. You have a purpose, and you're focused, right? Uh, then the last stage, that is the adjourning stage or closer stage. This stage of a group can be confusing and is usually reached when the task is successfully completed. At this stage, the project is coming to an end and the team members are moving off in different directions. So after your BEd program, that is once you achieve the goal, you may move off to another direction. You may move off to different directions. Then this group may not be same after that. See that these are the 5 stages of group development. You just imagine you as a group. I think you are in the fourth stage now, right? You are in the fourth stage. You are very focused. Your belongingness is there. You have a special purpose, and the last stage is adjoining stage. Once you received or once you achieved the goal, you may move off to different directions. Okay, is it clear? Okay, this slide just shows these are the just shows the 5 stages. Consolidation of stages of Bruce Tuckman. Uh, which are the 5 stages? Can anyone repeat? Josh, can you hear me? Shruti? Shruti, can you hear me? Can you read this?
Yes. Forming,
Okay.
forming,
Ah.
s- storming, norming,
Storming,
performing,
perform,
and adjourning.
adjourning. These are the 5 stages of group development: forming stage, storming stage, norming, performing, and adjourning stage. Is it clear? Okay, we are moving to another topic, that is types of groups. See, there are different types of groups. These are the list of different types, and we should see each group has different characteristics, and these are not watertight compartments. Some groups are organized. Some organized group can be purposive. Some closed group can be temporary, like that. It is not watertight compartment. Each one has its own characteristics, like that. Okay, the first type is primary and secondary groups. What's a primary group? What's a primary group? A group where individuals directly interact with one another. That is primary group. The family is a primary group. Then sometimes some peer groups are primary groups. There is interaction between the members, direct interaction between the members. Then another one is secondary group. What will be a secondary group? When a person in the group is indirectly associated with one another or influenced by some associations. It is like that secondary group. It is like some associations, some clubs where we have indirect association between the members. That kind of groups are called secondary groups. Then another type is formal and informal groups. What's a formal group? What's a formal group? When people formally meet to they form a group. They formally form a group to attain something. That is a formal group. For example, we can say that military unit, then sports teams. Those are formal groups. Then there are informal groups also. Informal groups, when individuals associate with one another to serve their common interest or for self-satisfaction, they are informal. I mean, it's a fans club. Fans club is an example for an informal group. They just form a group for their own satisfaction. That kind of groups are called informal groups. Then again, another type is membership and reference group. So membership group will be people must get themselves registered. They'll get a membership saying that you are a member of this group. That kind of groups are called membership groups. And there are another type that is membership group can be, I think, NCC or NSS. It's some examples for membership groups. Am I making myself clear to you? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then another is reference group. Reference groups are like, actually, sometimes peer groups are reference group. That is, people compare themselves to provide a standard of measurement. Sometimes peer group, they refer one another to what to wear, what to do, how to speak. Sometimes they'll refer one another. That kind of groups are called reference groups. But lady circle can be a reference group, a peer group can be a reference group, like that. Then another one is small and large group. So based on the number, the group can be small or large. Then another one is organized and unorganized groups. So what will be organized group? In organized group, people work together systematically for a goal. So in an organized group, what people will do, they will systematically work for a goal. So can you give me an example for that organized group? One example for organized group. Military unit is a kind of organized group, right? Okay. Then unorganized groups, they are not formed purposefully, but people just happen to fall into it. That is unorganized. That is unorganized group. That is not formed purposefully. Okay, right. Another one is accidental and purposive group. So as the name shows, when groups formed accidentally or in a situation or coincidentally in a situation, that is called accidental group. But a group of rank holders can be an accidental group, right? Then purposive groups are formed purposefully. They have purposive groups are formed purposefully to achieve something. Charity groups can be a purposive group. That can be an example. Then another one is open and closed groups. So what will be an open group? New members can enter at any time and they can exit at any time. That is called an open group. So can you give an example? A parents group can be an open group. Then what? A pop singers group can be an open group. These are some of the examples. Then closed group, when we come to closed group, their entry must be restricted. They are closed. Then some clubs like Lions Club and all that is entry is closed. That kind of groups are called closed groups. Then another type is temporary and permanent groups. So temporary groups, it is from their name itself, it is clear, temporary. People form groups temporarily for to achieve a goal, a short-term goal. Then permanent groups are, they are permanent in nature. Therefore, they are permanent. That are permanent groups. Okay. Then another one is nominal or non-performing groups. So some groups are just for the namesake. A group is there, but they are non-performing. They are not actually doing anything productive. That kind of groups are called nominal or non-performing groups. So yesterday it was telling some WhatsApp groups are like nominal and non-performing.